Block Party, a Minecraft podcast, episode 139. We're your hosts, Bearded Sloth
and Little C.
Get all our info at theblockpartymc.com.
Now let's get the block party started.
I'm feeling very announcerish today. I don't know why. Maybe
Hello
it's my
and
allergies.
welcome back to the block party tonight.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm so happy y'all made it back to the party. We have a party every week. It's great. It's nice to have you all here.
Before we start, I want to mention here in the live chat, we have quite a few people joining us for the live show today. But Wire Guy just joined in and said, "Hey peoples," and Advisory Labs commented on that. "I can feel my frame rate lowering already," just because Wire Guy joined.
That happens.
A lot.
Absolutely. And Jericho SMP.
He lags our server.
Yes, okay.
His base lags the server.
Yes. Depending on where you're at exactly, I have things that lag the server and I'm close to spawn.
He says lies, but I don't think we can trust him.
I don't know. Actually,
mischievous.
I think he's actually done pretty well this season with trying to at least be aware of what he's causing.
I know every season, my base is always laggy, and I don't know why. I know in the past it was my 64 furnace super smelter that caused a lot of lag, but that's gone away.
Okay.
I don't get lag with that as much now.
Okay.
And I think it has something to do with the rails on top of the hoppers made it less laggy now or something. I don't know.
Possibly. Also, if you have hoppers that are pointing into a container, but the hoppers are full and they can't push any more
which does not happen anymore.
That definitely causes lag, just so you guys are aware.
But I think it's just because I always have a lot of chests and things, but also I have a lot of item frames, paintings, armor stands, just decoration, and a lot of stuff. So I think just the crazy amounts of decoration and stuff might have something to do with it.
It might be decoration.
And
do you have a lot of item frames?
I do. Every single one of my chest frames has an item frame.
Absolutely are a lag thing.
I don't use glow item frames, though.
Entities
just normal ones.
like boats,
I know
mine
glow
carts.
signs are laggy.
Yeah, glow signs for some reason. I haven't messed with them for quite a while because of the lag they cause.
I always use them all the time everywhere, and I think they've definitely optimized them. I know on Season 3 of Jericho, Shopping District was unplayable even for us on crazy gaming computers because of the glow signs.
Yeah, and that was early on
and
when they
Wire
brought
Guy
them in too.
Just commented and said, "It's Bob. Definitely Bob doing it." I have a story about Bob that I'll talk about in past week, but let's get to your guys' comments. Our first one is from Advisory Labs. Mojang is the first company to figure out what the fox says.
So that's the sound effect I have for a fox.
That is not a fox.
I don't know where it came from. It was labeled as Minecraft Fox Screech. Have you guys ever heard that sound in Minecraft?
I don't think... No, that's a real-life fox.
That might be a real fox.
In Minecraft, they just kind of squeak. They don't even make sounds in Minecraft, really.
I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention. They always run away from me.
Well, I live in a tundra... No, not a tundra. A spruce forest biome.
Yeah.
So I get foxes.
Absolutely.
And I never hear them, even when I'm close to them.
Now we got to do some investigating. I might have to get into the files
and find it.
And find the actual sound and see if I can do something with that. That'd be cool. But yes, Mojang apparently knows what the fox says. I feel like that's a dated thing at this point.
That's an old meme.
I don't even get how your age group would get that.
I remember when that was funny.
Okay.
But it was like funny for even like anyone on Facebook. So like grandparents, it was like the funny thing for grandparents and parents and old boomers in general. Like the Facebook boomers. Like it was a funny thing for a while in like 2013 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember it. And I know like media made a big deal out of it. There was like parodies and songs and all kinds of stuff. But thank you for that comment, Advisory Labs. Next one comes from Kangamar. Wow, I'm an idiot. Oh, I probably should say more than the rest of his comment, right?
Yeah, no editing people's comments there, BS.
Okay. Yeah, he continues here. I cannot believe I have been playing Minecraft for over 2 years and I never knew the safe way of climbing ladders. I'm always falling off. like other people I could mention, cough, cough, BS. The way I've always climbed a ladder is to walk into it and keep pushing forward, the letter W on keyboard. But then you sway left and right while climbing and can easily fall off. I just learned now that you should hold jump while climbing instead of pressing forward. This way you stay straight and will not move left and right. You can actually eat on the way up and even look around and admire the view safely. How have I not accidentally discovered this until today? Idiot. All right, Kangamar. First of all, you're not an idiot. I've been playing for 14 years.
Not 14 years since 2014.
2014, not 14 years. Yeah, that's backwards. How many? That's 10 years.
That's 10
about
years.
10 years. Okay. So I've been playing about 10 years. And I just learned this reading your comment, Kangamar.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. And I think I probably knew this at one point in time. But I never play that way. I always just W into it. And sometimes like S or whatever, WASD, whichever angle I'm at. And I just do that. And I don't fall off ladders a lot, but sometimes, I kind of start swaying to the end and stuff. And like, I didn't know you could just hit spacebar. That's crazy.
I wonder if that's always been that way or if that came in when they started bringing in things like scaffolding and climbing the vines.
I have a feeling this has probably always been a thing and we're just all dumb.
I'd have to go back now. I really want to try it out on some of the other versions and stuff to see. But I love this, and we definitely need to tell HolyBookworm she hates ladders because of that.
Yeah, but the problem is she hates scaffolding.
Yeah, she does.
And I don't know why.
But I wonder if that would make the ladders easier for her.
Maybe.
And then, for us on PlayStation controller.
Even on keyboard and mouse, that's an issue is like you just W into it and you have to keep moving your mouse. This, you hit spacebar and you can be scrolling TikTok on your phone. Like, it doesn't matter.
And Advisory Labs on our live chat says he's going to go test it out in 1.0.0 right now.
Ooh, Java Edition testing.
And I'm assuming Kangamar, yeah, he plays on Bedrock Edition. So that's what he's talking about. And it might have not be a thing in Java and only in Bedrock. Who knows?
It might be a newer thing in one of the versions.
Keep us posted there, Advisory Labs, and we'll get back to you.
And then a reply to this comment from IRL nickname. I hate to do the thing where I have a conversation on show comments again, but I literally didn't know this until now, and I've been playing the game for far, far more than 2 years. Yeah.
Like what, 3 years?
He acts like he's only been playing it for 2 months.
I know, right? He plays like me.
And so it seems like it's a pretty common thing to not know this, which is interesting for me, because I feel like I've heard this or I've done this, but I know it's not what I do. I actually, when I saw this comment, I went in and just played a little bit, and then I went up to a ladder, and then I made sure to look at my hand and see what it did just naturally muscle memory, and it just was W up the ladder.
Right, so, but you tested it since this comment.
I don't think I did test the spacebar.
I haven't actually tested it myself. I haven't played any Minecraft since this comment came in.
Actually, I think here's what I think I do now that I think about it more. I go up to the ladder and I jump up to the ladder to get an extra block as I go, and I hold down spacebar and W at the same time. So I think in my brain you had to do both.
That is interesting. I know because we have crouch, like toggle crouch and everything.
On Bedrock.
On controller. So I know a lot of times I'll toggle the crouch and you'll just stay on the ladder wherever you're at. You can let go of everything and you'll just stay there.
Yep.
And I knew about that, but I didn't know I could just use the jump button to move up. So this is really cool. I'm definitely going to have to try this out myself. And we'll wait to hear back from Advisory Labs. We'll get to you somewhere in the conversation. All right. Thank you for those comments. Make sure you get your listener comments, your show comments in every week, your listener questions, all that. Join our Discord. You, of course, can find that link at theblockpartymc.com. You could also email us if you really want. That is
contact@theblockpartymc.com.
Very good, little C. And don't forget, when we do the live show, when we record this show, you can be part of the live chat during the show. It's amazing.
And sometimes the pre-show and the after show get a little goofy.
Sometimes we actually have pictures and stuff from last
Oh no,
week's
not those.
show.
Not those. Oh
Yeah,
no.
there's some crazy stuff going on. So you don't want to miss out. Join our Discord for that, of course. Little C, let's talk Minecraft in general. What have you been up to?
So last week, I know we talked about preparing for the invite, so we obviously did that on Saturday. And that went well. I think we fought 3 dragons. And then right after, I went in raiding, of course, got 2 elytras and just under a stack of shulker shells. So I'm set for now on that stuff. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get the little armor trim that you get from the end ones, but I'll probably go back and go looking for that whenever, just for fun. I just didn't feel like raiding a ton on that day. I was getting kind of tired of it. But now that I have an elytra, I always talk about how it changes perspective. It really changes perspective of everything on Jericho. And I did a flight all the way around the Jericho main continent of Season 5.
Okay.
And that was fun to go all the way around the edge of flying.
Is it very big when you're flying?
Yes.
It
It's
is.
still huge as
Okay.
flying. Like, it is a big enough area. Everyone on a server, all 40 members or whatever, could base there, have a significant sized base, and be fine.
That's really cool. And the fact that it is completely surrounded by water, right?
I believe so, yes.
There are no
There
land
are
bridges.
a few spots that are close,
Okay.
but nothing that's not.
That is amazing. I forget who found this seed,
Yeah.
but whoever that was, thank you very much. It's been a great seed so far. I'm loving it.
I know there's been not too much happening. I have seen some people now doing projects now that we have shulkers. I've seen like some people building stores and stuff, and like there's 2 people that are working on a big store, and they have their line of shulker boxes all, their organized ones ready to go. And that's fun to see now that we'll get some more projects and stuff going, I hope. And now that we have elytras, it's time to return to Little C flying into things and talking about it.
Yeah, you did fly into something. What was that?
So
Last
y'all
night?
know that I have Bob, my warden, as a pet warden, and he's in a little glass like panes around him and then a bubble column to keep him from moving above my base. Well, I was flying and I put on my chest plate to try to land in my fountain, which is directly underneath the warden thing, but I've done it before and I did it like perfectly where I went down, landed in the fountain, and then there's a little drop that goes into my base. I landed inside of the warden container.
That's not good.
And luckily, even though there were bubbles, I was still managed to fly somehow. I don't know how. I haven't been able to recreate that, but I think it's because I was with Bob bouncing around. So I think because it was bouncing, and I did get hit once. I didn't die, but I got hit, and I
That's
was able to
amazing.
fly away and save myself.
That was
But
close.
it was hilarious. And
I would have
yeah.
laughed pretty hard if you didn't make it out of there. That would be great because you have this. So be careful if you're around Little C's base. You do have a warden in the middle of the sky for some reason.
And yeah, I didn't think about this when I put the warden there. If anyone flies over my base and they're kind of circling around a lot, or if the warden's just angry for some reason, you'll get the darkness effect, and it's also an anti-air defense system. Because if you fly, and it's not going to happen if you're just flying over the base, but if you do it right, you can get hit by the warden while you're flying.
Yeah, so I would consider this an official no-fly zone at Little C's base if you're at all scared. So the end of the event, it went really well, I think. It was fun. We had several people join us, and there were a couple deaths, I think, during the event. I spent my time, of course, I took a couple water buckets with me and made a nice big pond so I could go fishing while we fought the dragon.
Of course you did, BS.
Yeah, so I caught a salmon, I think, a cod. I think I might even got a puffer fish. So I wanted to make sure you guys were updated on what I was doing during the end event.
He's got the good loot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, that's a cool idea. What if the end had different fishing tables? Like different loot?
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I like this idea. Also, as we came into it, because I was not in charge of getting the end event ready to go or when to schedule it or decorate around. A lot of time our players like to decorate the area. And
like completely renovate the stronghold.
one of our amazing people on Jericho, who has been a part of Jericho SMP since very, very early, probably one of the first on Jericho SMP season 2. She was probably the first or one of the very first. And she was kind of in charge of doing the Nether Hub in that season, which was epic. Everybody still talks about that
Yep.
Nether Hub. She did this room for the end event.
It was awesome.
And I saw some pictures like on Facebook of it that she posted and whatnot, but most players had no idea.
I had no idea what it looked like.
It was absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much. And that was actually Dr. Dead. We've had her on the After Hours show or on the, I think that was the After Hours show, wasn't it?
So.
Or was it the
I don't
regular
know.
show?
I remember.
Anyways, we've had her
show.
on the podcast before and absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for doing that.
It was cool. I'm hoping now that we have shulkers, something major happens with the Nether Hub. Like a big project, crazy. And since this is a long-term season, at least that's the goal to have this is a super long-term, multi-year season.
Yeah, I'm not
I think a
planning on restarting.
major Nether Hub would be awesome. Like massive main room, some cool stuff.
That would be cool. Get on it. I'm kind of staying back with a lot of the in-game stuff. I'm trying to not be a dictator, I guess is how I would say it, and just let whatever happens.
And yet you still want to build the giant BS Statue of Liberty from Season 3?
Yeah, I mean, you guys still should definitely honor your owner and leader.
Why don't I get a statue?
Well, we could build a little sea statue.
It
only have to be 2 blocks tall. You're short.
This is why I defaced your statue in Season 3.
That was rude. Yeah, so there is a lot going on. I think people were waiting on shockers, of course.
I think we have an update here from Advisory Labs.
Alert, update, news update.
Can confirm it was probably added back when scaffolding became a thing. 1.0.0 does not support holding space and will just make you kind of jump against it and then fall down the ladder until you can touch the ground to jump again. So I would say try to test it on a more modern version of that, but before scaffolding still. Because I feel like it might have been a thing that they thought about later on, like maybe because like that's very early on.
Yeah, I don't know when
that was added. So I guess
it's
not an original Minecraft thing.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff that was added that we just take for granted too since 1.0.0. That's a long time ago now. Thank you for that update though, Advisory Labs. Now the past week stuff in real life for us. There was an eclipse on Monday, if you guys didn't know, in the United States. Kind of a big deal. That was cool. Did you get to see it, Little
I
C?
did. We went in totality here because we didn't decide to drive.
What was it, about 98% here?
It was dark, and it's weird how cold it felt. Like, it got significantly colder, but it was a weird cold. It wasn't like you could tell it was just a temperature drop. It was, like, still warm, but your skin was cold because there was no rays of sun. Like, so it was really weird. And I think the temperature did technically drop, but it didn't feel like a sharp cold, if that makes sense. It was like it was really weird. It wasn't like normal.
Yeah, I absolutely. So I was driving my truck, of course. I picked up in Indiana and I was driving kind of through Indianapolis. And when it officially was in totality, I was right at the Indiana-Ohio border, kind of right into Ohio, heading east, and definitely reached totality. And I was driving down the highway. I watched my temperature gauge in my truck. It dropped about 7 or 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was enough. Definitely felt it. Definitely had to have my headlights on. I can't believe the drivers that did not turn their headlights on. And then drivers were pulling off on the side of the road and stopping, and there were signs everywhere not to do that. So I was a little annoyed with that, but it was cool. I didn't get to actually like view the moon covering the sun or anything like that, right? Because it was kind of behind me as I'm driving.
But you still got to see the effect of it, which
but
is
I got
probably
to see the effect, and that was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that. I was thinking too, because there are moon phases in Minecraft. by the way. They
Why
have
didn't
the
the
moon
eclipse
phases.
happen in Minecraft?
I think it would be cool to add that. I did see a video where I think it was Microsoft Flight Simulator, they added the eclipse happening
Nice.
in the simulator, which is kind of cool. But I was thinking too, because the sun's always on one side and the moon's on the other in Minecraft, they just kind of rotate
Yeah.
around. So that wouldn't quite work, but it'd be a cool feature to maybe just randomly go dark during the middle of the day or something.
It's called when the server admin decides to do slash
There you go.
time
Maybe I
night.
can do that myself, code something in that automatically does that. That would have been cool. A little late now.
Well, for total totality, you can do it in 2099.
There you go. We'll wait for that. I do think it's coming back to America
There
in
is
like
another
20
one,
years or
and
something
there's
like
another big one somewhat soon. Soon, like 20 years, longer than I've been alive.
So I'd love to hear too. I know a lot of times we say it has to be Minecraft related for our listener comments, but I'd love to hear if you guys were in the eclipse or whatever.
Form it in a type of a question, and then you can get away with it not being Minecraft related.
That too. But no, anything about the show that we've talked about, it's fine if you want to comment on that.
Advisory Labs just put another live comment. When someone creates a giant platform above your base and the shadow permanently makes your base area a mob spawner.
Yeah,
that's pretty much a Minecraft eclipse. Is just
there you go.
When someone decides to build the creeper farm right above your base.
That works for me. Absolutely. Wire Guy is showing a picture through his welding mask.
Okay, that's cool.
That looks really nice. That'd be a great background on something. So I like that picture. Thank you for that, Wire Guy.
Anything else you did this week?
Well, I drove. I made it. I was on my way to North Carolina that day. I made it down there and then drove across, made it over to Missouri, up to Wisconsin, and back to Indiana. And that was in real life. Now, in Trucking Sim, I spent most of my time in Kansas and Texas and Oklahoma and Colorado.
So you're back to the Trucking Sim?
I am back to Trucking Sim. It's taken a lot of my time.
You got me back into it again.
It's such a fun game. I really need to be able to balance my time between Trucking Sim
and real life
Minecraft.
Trucking?
No,
that
real life trucking. That's secondary. But I need to balance between the two games. I've been playing around with Steam a little bit. I actually downloaded a game. It didn't work.
Re-downloaded it.
And I re-downloaded a different version of it. And I got the refund for the first one and stuff. It seems to be working now. So I might look into that game. Definitely not family-friendly game, but it's a fun game nonetheless. Fallout 3 going way back. That's pretty much what I've been up to. Little C, what did you do this week?
I stared at the sun.
You did that too.
So yeah, that was I went to Sweetwater Sound.
I love that place.
Fun, and I actually got to use one of their little demo rooms, which they have these rooms all around their little store area. And they're soundproof, sound treated, no reverb. And there's buttons on the wall to choose how much reverb you want in the room, which is just having it off, no reverb in a room is weird. And if you stand there for like a minute or two, it feels really weird having true silence like that. And like there's still some ambient noise from like the store and stuff, but still it's quiet. And then you can adjust reverb. But had to go there because I took the church's camera to do some testing because they want to make some video stuff. So I just needed to test wireless mic systems and all of that. So I got that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love Sweetwater Sound. That's where our podcast equipment came from. And I play Minecraft, do the videos through all that. And they're really amazing too. I love how they treat you when you go in the actual headquarters, the store there in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And they treat you like a rock star, whether you're going to spend $20 or $2 million.
Yeah.
They really do treat you the same.
And they deal with people who spend $20 or 20 million. Like,
yeah, absolutely. They have the big rock stars come in and stuff. It's an amazing place. So if you ever get a chance and you're into that stuff at all,
any type of music,
highly recommend stopping by. Yeah, great place. We got to figure out how to get a sponsorship from them or something, I think.
I think we need a lot more listeners for that.
Hey, we can count on you listeners to make sure you tell everybody about the podcast. That's in our outro, and we're not quitting yet. We have more to do in the show. We have the past week
in Minecraft. All info from Minecraft.net.
Thank you, Little C. We have a couple here. Nothing too major, but there
There's
are
some good stuff.
some highlights here that are kind of cool. Minecraft Java 1.20.5 pre-release 1. That
Oh
means we're
boy.
getting close to an
So
official
this is
release.
for like, is the .5, is this gonna be the dog one? Are they adding that before the update? I'm so confused on what's happening with all of that.
Well, let's see what we get here. It came out Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. New features, advancements. Added the following advancements. Isn't it a scoot?
No,
Get
you read isn't it scoot instead of it isn't it cute is what.
Isn't it scoot?
Yeah, just by itself, not a. You put an a there,
Oh,
and that kind of ruined the thing.
I'm sorry. That is a fail. Well, Little C, do you want to continue reading then?
Isn't it scoot? Get armadillo scoots from an armadillo using a brush. Snip it. Remove wolf armor from a wolf using shears. Good as new. Repair a damaged wolf armor using armadillo scoots. The whole pack. Tame one of each wolf variant. Those are some cool advancements. I hope to see those make their way to Bedrock, although advancements work different in both versions. I hope to see the same advancements because those all sound like fun little things to get. And I really like the names. I wish Bedrock would have funnier names because Java Edition advancements are hilarious.
Yeah, I think they have more advancements than we have achievements by
Eh,
far, too.
I don't know, probably, but or at least funnier.
I agree with that. All right, there are some changes in this pre release. Added support for Viosa language. If you know, you know. I do not know. Technical changes. The data pack version is now 39. In depth information is available within the linked article. Experimental features. Trial chambers. More consistently buried by terrain when found underground. Added a new trap dispenser style to chambers. Fixed various broken jigsaw connections in the corridors, chamber eruption, stopped tough bricks from spawning in the air, and added more lights to quadrants. All right, ominous trials here. This is still under experimental features. Mobs that wear equipment no longer have a chance to drop their equipment on death. Mobs that can wear equipment will now often spawn with enchanted weapons and armor. Armor enchantments include protection 4, projectile protection 4, and fire protection 4. Weapon enchantments include sharpness 1, knockback 1, power 1, and punch 1. Players are now chosen 50% of the time when an ominous trial spawner chooses which entity to drop projectiles on top of. Projectiles now spawn more accurately above chosen entities. Of course, you can get more info on the chamber type changes are available on the article. There are some bug fixes. Over 50 bugs were fixed in this pre-release, by the way. The client crashes when using /give to give players a skull. Old villagers can't trade. Can't trigger flying mode in creative while standing in the middle of 2x2 magma block bubble column. And of course, apparently 47 more or even more changes or fixes there. Those were the problems that they fixed. They are looking for feedback on their Discord server. There is a link in the changelogs that I do always link in the description. Speaking of which, last week's show, I didn't change the links from the previous show, so they were pointing to the wrong one, but that has been rectified, so I apologize for that. Next one is Minecraft Bedrock Beta /preview 1.21.0.21. Also came out Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. I will tell you, you might want to pay attention to this. There are some new little features here that are kind of fun. We'll start with the experimental update. Of course, you got to have the toggle on for 1.21 experimental. Mace changes and additions. New mace enchantments.
That's interesting. I think these are just the Java ones. Okay.
Yep, and they brought it over to the Bedrock side now. Wind burst generates a burst of wind when successfully striking enemies, launching the wielder in the air. Density makes the already heavy mace even heavier, adding additional heft to its smash attack. Breach allows the mace to bypass a portion of an enemy's armor, striking fear into the hearts of even the most protected enemies. New explosive particle effect when executing a smash attack with the mace to really show the player's power when using it. There is a known issue. Particles appear gray in water and on some leaves. Particles appear when target is hit in the air. There are some raid changes and additions. Added raid omen effect. Instead of triggering a raid directly, Bad Omen will transform into a Raid Omen variant with a duration of 30 seconds. Once the Raid Omen expires, a raid will start at the location the player gained the Raid Omen. Like any other effect, players can drink a bucket of milk to clear the Raid Omen to prevent the raid from starting. Added activation sounds to Bad Omen, Trial Omen, and Raid Omen. All right, this is the new features here. We did not see this one coming. I don't think they teased it much, but 5 new paintings.
This is huge.
Added 5 new paintings by artist Sarah Bovine,
who I think is just their main artist at Mojang, or
So,
one of the artists.
Thank you for this, Sarah. I'm really excited. I kind of glanced at them, but I didn't pay that much attention. I'm really looking forward to seeing these in game. I might have to fire the preview up to see these. Baroque, Humble, Meditative, Prairie Ride, and Unpacked is the names of them. This is an audio only show, so it's kind of hard to show you all what they are. So check out the preview if you want to see them. Mobile touch controls / UI. They did some changes here. Added slide off persistence to new D-pad touch control scheme. Changes positioning and scale of default new touch D-pad control scheme. Also allows for moving the D-pad closer to the hotbar when customizing touch controls. Made the jump and ascend in water button overlap so now the player can stay above water more easily. Miscellaneous changes and fixes. Coral blocks are now split into instances like tube coral block, brain coral block, bubble coral block, etc. Chemistry items now appear in the creative inventory when the Education Edition toggle is on. The death screen now shows Spectate World option when playing in hardcore mode. Armadillos no longer repeatedly roll and unroll when receiving damage from blocks. And of course, many more on their actual changelogs.
So I assume they just haven't added the new paintings to Java. I'm pretty sure they're going to add them. If not, that would be really weird. I think they might already be in Java and just weren't mentioned here. I don't know. I've seen a lot of screenshots of them, and they look pretty cool. Like, I'm happy to have these. Because we've had... The last newest painting was the Wither one. And honestly, these new ones are amazing.
I kind of wonder if they're going to retire some of the old ones.
I don't think so.
These, or...
Because you look at all the new stuff they're doing, all the pottery sherds and decorated pots, all the armor trims, and they're adding a ton of variety. Almost too much in my opinion. I think it's starting to become the Terraria thing for me personally, where I don't play Terraria because it's just too much to keep track of.
Gotcha.
Now, for us, it's fine for Minecraft because we've kept up with it as they add stuff, but someone getting into the game,
there's a lot.
And even the new stuff, I get a little overwhelmed with some of the pottery sherds. I don't know them all and like some of that stuff.
Yeah,
but
there's
I'm
plenty
all
of
for
stuff
the new
I don't
paintings.
know. Yeah, I like paintings. I am curious too, because something I've always kind of wanted to do, and I know you can do it. You can change the vanilla paintings by making a resource pack or whatever. But I wonder if they change the way they are actually made, if you could make it easier to make those packs or not. Or if you could just add paintings instead of changing them, if that makes sense, without replacing any. So I'm looking forward to digging into the code a little bit on that, because I would love to be able to have a big BS painting in my base.
No, just no.
You don't want one? I could sell it for like 10,000 diamonds or something.
You can make map art. I actually kind of want to do this. Take a funny picture of BS and make get a server-wide map art build that's just a whole map art of your face.
That could be fun.
And then we just give people nightmares by filling their entire house with item frames with your face on the walls.
I like it.
You-
Everybody should enjoy my face.
You should build a house and then one of the walls, like an accent wall, but it's just your face for all of it. That'd be terrifying.
I love it, little C. All right, that's all Mojang's been up to. I love doing the change logs. It keeps us up to date a little bit. Make sure, though, if you really want the details, of course, click the link in our description and go read it for yourselves, right?
Now it's time for do.
Listener questions.
Why'd you do it like that, BS?
I'm going back to the announcer voice stuff that we talked about. I like it.
Tonight on Listener Questions, Ripley again asks, what is the most effective method to gain XP? You like my announcer voice there?
I did like that.
There you go.
All right, well, I don't know if it's the most effective, but it's the most fun. Definitely fishing.
No. So, I think Enderman farms or gold farms. For gold farms on Bedrock, you have the gold ticking farms. But on Java, the ones above the nether roof, the big circle ones, those things are super amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I am thinking, when I say the gold ticking gold farm, there's a lot of people that don't actually know what we're talking about. There's not a whole lot of good tutorials.
There's plenty
There's
out
a few.
there. It's just, they're kind of complicated to build because you have to know directions and which side they fall on
Right.
and stuff.
I'm debating if I want to make a tutorial on that because those are the only real XP farms
For Bedrock.
for Bedrock
That aren't in the end.
And since we make our players at least put a portal request in, make a ticket and everything so we can keep track of where the portals are.
Then we could just, if they need to know how to build
if
one.
they need to
there you go.
know. And we might, but then we'd kind of lose out when IRL wants to make one and all the fails he has while making it. We'd miss out
little
on that.
Jericho story here. So IRL nickname built one, and his original one, he made it, and then all the pigmen got out, and they were still aggravated at him, and he kept dying because his bed was next to the farm. So he kept respawning and didn't have enough time to escape and kept dying. And then he built one, and all of his items were going through. This happened on a season before. He's just known to be the bad gold farm builder on Jericho.
Yeah, I know. He just messes it up all the time. They're not that difficult. Especially if you've done it a couple times.
I mean, I've built one myself. That proves how easy it is.
There you go. Yeah, if Little C can figure out the redstone on that, then because he is definitely not good at redstone.
I'm really not.
All right, thank you for that question, Ripley. Again, next one comes from Advisory Labs. What's your guys' knowledge of the hardware specs if you were going to buy them for yourself, required to run a Minecraft server? I have plans for building what I call the MSS1, Minecraft Server System 1, which is running a 7600 non-X for power efficiency with 64 gigs of DDR5, 5200 speed RAM. Would that be able to run around 100 players at once if I wanted with moderate plugins?
I know nothing about server hosting or servers in general. We pay for hosting, and for the price, I feel like that's usually the better thing, and then you don't have to worry about protecting your own home network. You're relying on your internet, and there's just a lot of stuff with that.
I will say, when you start getting into 64 gig hosted servers, they start getting significant, and it might start making sense to build your own. As far as the RAM, 64 gigs, I kind of did some digging on what the recommended are. They say up to 90 players on 60 gigs, but remember that 60 gigs has to be solely dedicated for that server, right? So if you only have 64 gigs total, that's probably not enough for 100 players. And it's not an exact figure because there's so many factors. Some of our players use about, 800 megabytes or megabits? Megabytes. Megabits?
I don't know.
I'm confused now. But anyways, 800, right? If you're assuming roughly 1,000 equals 1 gig, right? So some of our players use 800. Some of our players use as little as 100 when they join. right? So it depends what you're doing, depends how much
It depends
traveling
if
you're
your
doing.
name starts with a W and ends with Ire Guy.
There is something to be said about that. Depends what, and are you talking about Java? I would assume if you're running the server,
And there's
maybe,
also
maybe
a
not.
live comment here from Orange, and he says, see, they haven't stated storage, which can be a factor. That as well. And then Advisory Labs replied with 2 terabyte SSD. That's probably good enough. Like,
Yeah,
that's plenty of storage
that's
to
not
keep
going to
your...
be your problem. I didn't think
Which
that
is
would be
good.
your problem. I think this would run pretty well. Something to be said about servers, though. They what are the cores, Little C? Do you know the differences between multi-core and single
I
core and stuff?
haven't nerded out that much.
I do think that servers like to be single core type of things or whatever. Whatever that means, threads, I don't know exactly. There are conflicting things when I looked it up. I host with Bisect Hosting. Definitely recommend them if you're going to have either Java or whatever. Also, something to keep in mind with your RAM there, plugins do require more of that too. So as you add more plugins, the more RAM you need. I do help with other people's, and we're talking Bedrock servers. I help with other servers, hosts and stuff, and they're using Bisect hosting. Some of their servers, because they have these add-ons and certain add-ons, they need more gigs than even what Jericho SMP is running. We run off of fairly minimum specs as far as RAM goes, but we do 4 times a day we restart, which does restart your RAM. So it's only on the individual players that play between the server restarting, if that makes sense. All right. Hopefully that answered your question there, Advisory Labs. I know I don't have all the details on that, and good luck. Let us know how that goes as you keep building that.
Now it's time for everyone's... Wait, sorry, I got to do the announcer voice. And now it is time for everyone's favorite part of the Block Party podcast, HolyBookworm's Joke of the Week. Now over to BS for the start of the joke.
What do you call 2 ducks and a cow?
Quackers and milk. As you can tell by my voice, I did not find that joke humorous.
Advisory Labs shared a meme and it says, point of view, you're not funny. But your is spelled wrong. Grammar police. Wee woo, wee woo.
And it's funny because the picture is actually IRL nickname.
That is a picture of IRL. I did recognize that. Yes, so thank you for that meme. But please get your grammar spelling correct on yours and yours and yours and theirs and
Man,
all
for
that.
an audio podcast, it's hard to do. Your and your and your.
That's right.
There.
There. All right, Little C, it's been a great show. I love doing the Minecraft podcast every week, but we need your help. We need you to get your comments in, get your questions in, join our Discord, email us, all those ways. We definitely want this to be a listener-driven show, most of all, and that means you, the listeners, have to be a part of that. You can also help support the show by subscribing to the podcast. Find that link in the description to subscribe. Gives you some extra benefits. It's only $1.99 a month. Super appreciate it. It truly does help us out, keeping the podcast the best that it can be. Best of all, you'll get access to the after hours show we've talked about. There's some cool shows in there. You get to know us a little bit better. We talk about all kinds of random stuff on that. I love that show. Also, all of our early episodes that maybe we were just learning how to podcast and the quality's not great, you get that too. So make sure to subscribe. Also, help us get the word out. People need to know about the Block Party, a Minecraft podcast. So tell everyone you meet at the grocery store, in life, at school, tell them about this podcast and to visit theblockpartymc.com.
We want to hear from you. We love your comments and questions. You can join our Discord or email us at contact@theblockpartymc.com.
Thank you all for being here. We truly do appreciate it. Make sure to tell everyone about the Block Party, a Minecraft podcast. I'm Bearded Sloth, and now I gotta eat my coffee and play trucking sim.
And I'm Little C. Bye!